Nārada uvāca praṇamya śirasā devaṁ gaurīputraṁ vināyakam bhaktāvāsaṁ smarennityamāyuḥkāmārthasiddhaye prathamaṁ vakratuṇḍaṁ ca ekadantaṁ dvitīyakam tṛtīyaṁ kṛṣṇapiṅgākṣaṁ gajavaktraṁ caturthakam lambodaraṁ pañcamaṁ ca ṣaṣṭhaṁ vikaṭameva ca saptamaṁ vighnarājaṁ ca dhūmravarṇaṁ tathāṣṭamam navamam bhalachandraṁ ca dashamam tu vināyakam ekadasham gणपतिं dvādasham tu gajananam dvādashaitani nāmani त्रिसन्ध्यं यः पठे नरः न च विघ्नभयं तस्य सर्वसिद्धिकरं प्रभो विद्यार्थी लभते विद्यां धनार्थी लभते धनं पुत्रार्थी लभते पुत्रान् मोक्षार्थी लभते गतिं जपेत् गणपतिस्तोत्रं षड्भिर्मासैः फलं लभेत् संवत्सरेण सिद्धिं च लभते नात्र संशयः अष्टभ्यो ब्राह्मणेभ्यश्च लिखित्वा यः समर्पयेत् तस्य विद्या भवेत् सर्वा गणेशस्य प्रसादतः। ॐ इति श्रीनारदपुराणे सङ्कटनाशनगणेशस्तोत्रं सम्पूर्णम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। दयाकरं दयाकारं दान्तं धर्मप्रवर्तकं प्रणमामि दयानन्दं मदाचार्यवरं परम्। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। Hari Om to all. Welcome to this talk on prayer. Very important subject, especially given the current climate that the whole world is going through. And it's important to understand the importance and also why we pray, what it is. I've formatted the talk in such a way that I've asked questions and I will give answers to them. So the first question is, what is prayer? So we think we know what prayer is, but let's see what prayer is according to our Shastra. There's a very beautiful quote that I found, actually. Somebody said, prayer is how I reach my hand out to the invisible and I discover a visible hand reaching back. I love this idea. I reach my hand out to the invisible and I discover a visible hand reaching back to me. If we look at the definition of prayer, it is an invocation, an act of invocation, developing a rapport, which means a relationship with an object of worship. And how do I develop that? Through a deliberate communication. So this is very important to understand. A prayer is an action. Prayer is activity. It is a free will involved action. You choose to pray, you choose to pray to an object of worship. We can see it as the strongest wireless connection on the planet. We can't see the connection, but it's the strongest wireless connection on this planet. And all religions, all cultures, all languages, all countries, all traditions have their own forms of prayer. So they may pray in different languages, different ways, but the attitude behind the prayer is fundamental to all human beings. It is a seeking to relate to a higher power, to forms or even formless. And how does a prayer usually begin? Usually, a prayer begins with discovering my helplessness, discovering the helplessness of I in so many situations we have to face in our lives. And when we discover this helplessness, what happens? We turn to Ishvara, we turn to Bhagavan. Even at the start of the class, we begin with an opening prayer. What is this prayer? Who are we invoking? Sahana Vavatu, very beautiful Vedic prayer, invocatory prayer, Shanti mantra to invoke this invisible power. Om is a sacred syllable that represents the universal sound and the consciousness. Whole Ishvara is covered in Om. The whole universe is covered by the sound syllable Om. And we say, Sahana Vavatu. May he indeed protect us. So the teacher and the students pray for, it's a collective prayer. The teacher also prays along with the student. May who protect us? It is not some mafia don. We're asking Ishvara, we're asking that Ishvara, the invisible power, to protect us. How? Through knowledge, with knowledge. May he protect us. Sahanau bhunaktu. May he, that invisible power, may he nourish us both by helping us. How? Nourish us by helping us to assimilate this knowledge, by making this knowledge ours. Not just assimilate, may he provide the infrastructure, may he provide the conditions, the situations conducive to me to gain that knowledge. So sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahe. Here you're asking each one on the individual level, may both put forth sufficient efforts. Let us have that strength. Let us work together with great energy, because knowledge cannot be one-sided. The teacher also has to recollect and remember the right thing at the right time, what has been taught by his gurus or the parampara before. So this is also an important prayer. May we put forth sufficient effort. May we work together with great energy. Give us that strength. Let not lethargy and apathy overtake our pursuit, our spiritual pursuit. And may our study be vigorous. May it be, full of energy, charged with energy. Sahaviryam karavavahe. Tejasvina vaditamastu. So let our study be, very, very committed. Let it become effective. Let it bless us both. Let it bless everybody. When it blesses me personally in my life, it will definitely have a rebound effect and bless everybody else around me as well. So, saha tejasvina vaditamastu mam. Let this knowledge shine through me. Let it shine through us, and let us see this truth of ourselves together. And ma vidvishavahe, the last line says, let there not be any conflict situations that come in between us in this study. Let there not be any misunderstanding, projections, wrong projections that come in between me gaining the knowledge and the teacher giving the knowledge. So very beautiful, this prayer that we chant every time we begin a class, we chant this prayer. And of course, the three shantis at the end of every prayer are to ward off the three sources of obstacles, the adibhautika obstacles, the physical obstacles, which are coming from the external world, insects, people, noisy neighbors, all of this disturbing my studies, disturbing my meditation, home environment, all of this. Om Shanti, peace be unto the environment here. Peace be unto all the gods of nature. Because Adi Devika Tapahas can also come. Om Shanti, second piece is to ward off, obstacles coming from natural calamities, floods, earthquakes, any kind of natural calamities. I ask the gods of nature to bless me, to be beneficial towards me. And of course, the final one is one of the most difficult to overcome, Om Shanti, which is my own internal tapahas, adhyatmika tapahas, source of obstacles arising from myself, either through physical body, illnesses, pain, diseases. I can't do Shravanam if I have headache, migraines, very difficult. If I have some physical illness, how is it possible to do Shravanam? My mind will keep going there. So the final Shanti, Om Shanti, is for physical peace as well. So from this prayer, you can see why we need to pray. So we know now prayer is to develop a rapport between myself and this invisible intelligence that pervades the whole universe. We can invoke it in any form. But in this prayer, we can see prayer highlights my inability to face many, many things in my life which are not in my control. It actually highlights my helplessness. And very, very honestly seen, prayer highlights my inability to live actually in the present moment. Let us all go back and think about the statement that I'm going to make. I'm unable to live in the present moment, and my inability to accept situations and facts as they are is highlighted also by my need to pray. There is nothing wrong in this. It is the ego's cry, that egoic individuality's cry of help. It is the egoic individuality's cry for hope, for things to change. Sometimes we pray for things to change. Or we can also pray for things to stay as they are. Why do we pray for staying as they are? Again, we want a certain pleasant situation to remain with us because we are afraid of change. So either we pray for this unpleasant situation I cannot bear, so I want to change it, or I have a very pleasant situation, we pray, don't change it. Either way, change is the main thing that we want to focus on. And broadly, seeing this need to change through prayer can be put under two headings. I want to change in order to be happy. I want to change a situation in order to be happy, to have a pleasant situation instead. Or I want to escape from a sorrowful situation, unpleasant situation. So this highlights that I pray because, number one, I cannot control my future. I don't know what's going to come next. None of us know what's going to happen next. And because I can't control, I pray. That is also helplessness. And I pray because I cannot erase the past from my memory. Sometimes I pray because I'm helpless. The past keeps coming back. The hurt, the guilt, all of this is because of past, right? And that also comes, I pray, because I can't erase my past as well. So here we are fluctuating between future, generally, future and past. If you look in prayer, that is why I say it is my helplessness, my inability to be in the present moment that highlights in the form of prayer. I pray because anything can happen anytime, disease, illness, accidents. I also pray for that. So there are many reasons, but these are the broad headings under which we all pray as human beings. I also pray because of my own omissions and commissions towards others. I have guilt. Others' omissions and commissions towards me leave me hurt. These things, if I carry with me throughout my life, they affect my ability to live in the present moment. So these are the various things that we can pray for in our life. And this success, I also pray because I want to complete all my endeavors successfully. Who does not want to do that? I want all my endeavors to be successful. I don't like failures. So there's a special formula here for success. Prayatna. Prayatna means appropriate efforts. Appropriate efforts in appropriate time, plus devaṁ. Devaṁ is that unseen factor. We'll see. That is what we are addressing here with prayer. Devaṁ is that unseen factor which decides what time to manifest the fruit of your prayers. It is like planting a seed, you know. Some seeds take longer to sprout, some seeds sprout immediately. But who decides when the seed comes up? There is an unseen force here, and that we call devaṁ. So my own efforts, appropriate efforts, plus that unseen factor called devaṁ equals siddhi, success, which is termed by achieving the goal I want, achieving what I want from prayer. So we can see now we need help for factors not under our control. We need a lot of help in our lives. Most of us need help in life. For Shastra study, for Vedanta study, also I need help, because many obstacles come in between our pursuit of spiritual life and also our worldly life. So spiritual life also, I need to ward off obstacles for antahkarana shuddhi. That is why even in our gurukulas and our ashrams, you find there are lots of prayers that are happening all the time. There is daily puja, all this, festivals are celebrated. This is again constant warding off nitya karma, of all the obstacles that can come even in spiritual life. Then the next question I ask is, how do we pray? What is prayer really? How do I express? So prayer is the expression of our emotions. It's expression of our processes of thinking. It can manifest as words. It can manifest as chanting. It can manifest as puja, as yajnas. In the Upadesha Saram, Ramana Maharishi says, Kaya Vangbana, Karyamuttamam, Pujanam Japas, Chintanam Kramat. He says there are 3 instruments available to connect to the divine. We can connect on the physical level, kayikam. We can connect. Physical means doing puja. That is also a type of worship, type of prayer. We can connect vachikam. Orally, we can connect by chanting, by doing mantras loudly. That is also connecting to Ishvara in the form of prayer. And we can have manasikam karma, which is mental karma. So rituals, chanting, singing, these are all types of prayers that we have at our disposal, using the 3 instruments that we have been blessed with by the Lord. And ultimately, prayer helps us gain that maturity that we need as a qualified recipient of spiritual knowledge. It teaches us to connect to the Lord and teaches us to assimilate ultimately that the identity, my identity and identity of the Lord, are nothing but one identity, which is pure, limitless consciousness. So all the actions that we are seeing, we've seen now, whether it is a mental action, whether it's a verbal action, whether it's a physical action, is to invoke that extra factor, which is called devaṁ. We saw that is part of the equation for success. Devaṁ, how does it work? So this is the next question. How does prayer work and what does it do? Prayer, we have seen at the beginning, is an action. It is an activity. We use, the 3 karanas, 3 instruments, so it is an action. Free will involved action always invokes results. This is a law of karma, which is given, unfolded in our Vedas, the law of karma and dharma. Because it is an action, 100% free will involved action, it invokes a positive result. There are 2 types of results that prayer invokes. What are these 2 types? One is seen result called drishtaphalam, and the other is unseen result called adrishtaphalam. So being a karma, when you understand, when there's a choice in your action, you definitely invoke results. And prayer is full 100% involved choice. You have choice over prayer, so it will invoke 100% results. This is a law. That very law of karma and dharma is nothing but Ishvara for us. And of course, it invokes the result, but there is an intervening factor. What is that? Because people can be praying in the same way, but why don't things manifest immediately? For somebody, it can come within 5 minutes. For somebody, it takes 1 year. For somebody, it seems that it never manifests. And those three people are asking for the same thing, doing the same type of prayers. So that is where prayer, we don't doubt the validity of prayer. We don't doubt the functionality of prayer. We have to measure in an extra factor, an intervening factor for prayer's manifestation. What is that? It is individual karmic results. You do have the power to clear many of the obstacles, duritas it is called, cropping up from moment to moment. But if there is a strong prarabdha karma, which stops the manifestation of the, prayer at that time, it doesn't mean the prayer is ineffective. One time or other, it is definitely going to come for you. There is absolutely 100% no failure, because the law of karma is infallible. It is Ishvara for us. The infallible is Ishvara. Infallible means he cannot go wrong. So definitely the result will come, but the timing is dependent on, we will see what that idea of, what that understanding of Ishvara is. It's not a belief. It is understanding. Swami Dayananda always used to say, Ishvara is not a matter for belief. He is a matter for understanding. When you understand what Ishvara is, you will see how that law also works. But you have the power to clear duritas. We do these daily rituals, these prayers daily. Why? Mamopata durita kshaya dvara. For all the duritas, all the small obstacles cropping up moment to moment are neutralized through prayer. So prarabdha karma, your prarabdha karma is karma that you have to exhaust in this particular lifetime. It doesn't negate the results of your prayers, but it determines the timing of the results. So this is important. The two things that we have seen results, we have seen results and unseen. So unseen results of prayer. What is the seen result first? Seen result means I have a sense of, a sense of completion. When I pray, you can see for yourselves, whenever I pray, I have a feeling of fulfillment. I have a feeling of calm. I have a feeling, generally, I have a feeling of just kind of resolution. That is the seen result. It helps to calm the mind. It helps to give me a state which I was not in before. That is called seen result. But prayer also produces adrishta phalam, which is unseen result. And this can manifest for you in future. It can manifest in the form of punya. Punya always means, punya, there are different types of punya. Generally, when we say punya, people think it's all in the level of comfort, pleasant situation, comfortable situations, money, power, name, fame. It can include all of that. What people, society determines as success, people say because punya. But punya can also be for spiritual growth. Punya can also be for you to, for the infrastructure to be provided to you to learn, to study spiritual knowledge, to have access to traditional teaching. Punya can manifest for, in having the chance to go to places to learn this knowledge. So spiritual punya is also there. In the material world, pleasant situations, it helps you. Prayer helps you gain pleasant situations, being at the right time, at the right place. All of this is important. And if I'm in difficult situations, what does the product of prayer do? The unseen result of prayer helps, give me aid, gives me help when I need help. So even though I'm in a difficult situation, what happens? Help suddenly comes from somewhere. How do we explain it? It is because of punya. That is that punya manifesting. So so drishta phalam we have seen is the inner calm, the peace, all of this emotional stability that prayer provides, and the adrishta are all all this luck factor. We can call it, Swamiji often used to say, in every language that you find, any culture, there will always be an equivalent for the word luck. Luck is what we call grace. Grace, punya, we call that punya. Punya phalam is often called grace or luck. Grace is such a beautiful word in English. It means smoothness. If you see, it refers to smoothness, elegance of movement. So grace is that which helps my life flow smoothly. And what or who decides this luck in life? Who decides this devaṁ, this luck factor in life? So here is where we begin our understanding of that Ishvara. He is that supercomputer, Bhagavan. We can call him it by many names, Bhagavan, Ishvaraha. It is that impartial giver of anugraha or grace, karma phaladata, we say in Sanskrit, the giver of the results of action. And, you know, we have to invoke this Bhagavan. We have to invoke this grace. Anugraha, very beautiful Sanskrit word. It means to grasp after. It is not something that is going to fall into our laps. It is something we have to make our effort in order to invoke. Use, again, 3 karanas we've seen through prayer, a mental instrument, the mind. We use the physical instrument, the body. We use the instrument of the tongue to invoke this devaṁ. And we can only connect to something we understand. How can you relate to something you don't understand? Very difficult. You have to understand Ishvara first to relate to him. So some understanding is necessary. So Bhagavan is, we say in Vedanta, he is unfolded in the form of certain laws in the universe. The order of the universe is Ishvara for us. There's a very beautiful verse in Vishnu Purana that talks about the word Bhagavan. What does Bhagavan mean? Aishwaryasya, samagrasya, viryasya, yashaha, shriyaha, jnana, vairagyayoscheva, shannam bhaga itirana. Bhagavan is the one with the 6-fold wealth. Oh, so what is this wealth? This wealth is in the form of various laws. I look at it in the form of various laws. Aishwaryam, limitless overlordship. He or she, whatever you want to say, is in control of everything, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. That is Aishwaryam, samagrasya, total overlordship. That law of overlordship, that is what Ishvara represents. Bhagavan. Viryam, samagrasya viryam means limitless strength, limitless capacity. That law of limitless capacity, limitless strength, which means what? The ability to do anything at any place, at any time, the strength to accomplish anything. And we can see Bhagavan from a certain angle is seen as the creator of the universe, the sustainer of the universe, and the dissolver of the universe. He can do anything at any time. So that law of limitless capacity is also Ishvara for us. Yashaha. Yashaha means limitless glory, fame. He is no one can get more famous than Lord. Whatever place you go to, there will be some form of the supreme that is invoked, some form of divinity that is looked up to, prayed to, worshipped. So he is limitless glory as well. The law of Yashaha, limitless fame, limitless glory. Shri, he is limitless, samagrasya Shri, limitless wealth. All material and spiritual wealth is nothing but he alone. So all wealth, total wealth, the law of gaining wealth, the law of maintaining wealth is also Ishvara for us, Bhagavan. And he is limitless knowledge, jnanam. All knowledge we call it. All knowledge means anything you pick up in this universe is nothing but knowledge. Knowledge is the material, the order is the material cause for this universe, the orders that you see. The Lord, again, is in the form of various orders. He is in the law of orders, and we invoke that all knowledge. He is all knowledge. In any object we can invoke all knowledge, Ishvara. And with all of these forms of wealth, the final one is samagrasya vairagyam, which means with all of that, he has total objectivity. He is impartial. He is untouched by all of that. He has all of this, but he is untouched, impartial. There are no favorites with Ishvara. There is no preference. He is one to be invoked. So although it seems that he is blessing some people over others, he doesn't have favorites. Whatever the manifests for that person in the form of talents, skills, or any of the above list that we have seen Bhagavan represents is because it is earned. Okay, this is a very important thing to understand. All grace is earned. So if somebody is getting more than us, that means they have earned it. It is not just arbitrarily given to them. They have earned it either in this life or in past lives. So Ishvara, we see in Bhagavan, and Bhagavan is, of course, Ishvara, all different names. Ishvara is a conscious, all-knowledge being, the order of this universe. He is that intelligence that is in everything. And that intelligence responds when it is invoked. And this intelligence is also from one perspective. It is seen from one standpoint. It is seen as various phenomenon in this universe. So this total intelligence becomes adhisthana devatas, very beautifully, presiding deities over the natural law and orders that we see in the universe. So they are called functionaries. Adhisthana devatas are those deities that give the power behind certain natural functions that we see, that we call the Adhisthana Devata behind the sun. What gives the power of the sun to shine? What gives the power of the sun to give heat? That is called Surya, Aditya. So these, Ishvara from another standpoint is seen as all pervasive, but as certain functionaries, as certain laws are given names like Surya. And at the individual level, we see the same Devata, the same deity is the presiding deity of the eyes, Aditya, Bhagavan. So very interesting. I need the light for my eyes to be able to see. So, many times we say if you have weak eyesight or any problem with eyesight, we take one shloka, Aditya Hridayam. People say if you chant that, your eyesight improves. I mean, people have to test all this, but so this is idea of Ishvara. All the elementals are also given, divinities in our culture. That is why we have a very prayerful Vedic attitude towards nature, is how it is a very prayerful attitude. Because anything we see in nature is divine for us. The water is Varuna for us. Sun, as I said, is Surya for us. So all of these, these attitudes that we have towards everything, to nature, is an attitude of reverence. You see, even in India, anywhere you go, the villages, rocks are worshipped, trees are worshipped. Why? Because they are worshipped not as the object. The power behind the object is worshipped. It's always the power behind the objects that is worshipped. So praying to Bhagavan in all these various forms, as Swami Dayananda used to say, we don't have many gods. We don't have one God. We have only God. What a beautiful saying that Swamiji has said. That is the Vedic understanding of Ishvara, of Lord for us. So praying to Bhagavan, connecting to that Lord through any form and every form means what? I acknowledge the limitation of this egoic self. This egoic self bows in all humility before a greater altar. And this bowing to Ishvara, prayer is a way of bowing, of reducing that egoic individuality. And when I pray, there is an attitude of devotion that is invoked. Devotion also is a beautiful way of connecting to Ishvara. But we don't understand bhakti or devotion clearly. What is devotion? Is it a separate path? We see in many places Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, this yoga, that yoga. There is no separate devotional path here. Devotion is an attitude that pervades your whole entire life. Devotion is a commitment to the higher power. Devotion is from the root, Sanskrit, again, little understanding the Sanskrit roots really helps understanding the meaning of what we are doing. See, I always explain the Sanskrit in English in a language that you can understand. But when you see the beauty of Sanskrit language, you can feel what it really means. So you see, bhakti comes from the root bhaj, which means service, to serve, to worship. So actually, bhaj, bhakti is a commitment to Ishvara. And what does a commitment to Ishvara mean? Does Ishvara need a commitment? Ishvara never says, I want your commitment. There's no Bhagavan says, I want, we only project that. None of Ishvara is fullness. He is wholeness. He is completeness. He doesn't need anything from us. He doesn't need. It is for my own sake I'm committed. This has to be understood. I am committed because I am committed to gaining Ishvara Anugraha. Prayer, we have seen, is the way to gain the grace of Ishvara. The devaṁ, Anugraha, or synonyms. When I gain this, what do I gain in my life? I gain conducive situations which make for favorable outcomes. This is what we want. So we have to be very clear. Human beings are very selfish creatures, actually. We do everything for ourselves. We have to be very clear. Again, that's why I say it's brutally honest with ourselves. I'm not doing anything for anyone. I want my situations to be favorable. I pray for favorable situations. Even when I pray for others, sometimes people say, no, I'm praying for somebody else. I don't pray for myself. Then I'll ask, why are you praying for others? It is your own suffering, seeing the others suffer, that you want to remove, right? When you see your own suffering, seeing others suffer, which is a very beautiful thing, because it shows I have compassion. It shows I have empathy. But really, it is to remove my own suffering in all of this. So what I'm doing with prayer is committing to Ishvara through the attitude of devotion to gain this devaṁ, to gain this anugraha, which gives conducive, favorable outcomes for me in my life. And with this attitude, what do I understand? I understand that my body, mind, and senses are not separate from Ishvara. These body, mind, senses is also part of Ishvara, like a wave in the ocean. The wave is not the ocean, but I can relate to the ocean as the wave is a part of it. So here, we are not in Advaita Vedanta here. In prayer, it is still Dvaita. We're in Vishishta Dvaita, actually. So we are part of Ishvara. This is we have to have that attitude to have this bhakti. In non-dualism, where is the question of prayer? Who is there to pray to? But in order to discover that there is only the non-dual one without a second, one needs to pass through these stages and have a Ishvara, have an attitude, understanding of Ishvara, knowing that I am part of that whole, I am this individual wave, I'm not separate from the ocean, I can relate to the ocean. So the individual wave is the vyashti, and the total ocean is called samashti in Sanskrit. And this relationship is what I discover when I pray. So these are from standpoint. From the standpoint of water, there is no separate. There is only one. But when I see in the standpoints of name and form, there is separation, and that separation is necessary to pray. So this total that I pray to, we understand now, Ishvara in our scriptures is in the form of various orders. He is in the form of biological order, chemical order, physical order, even psychological order. There's an order to all the psychology for all of us, given our backgrounds, given the experiences we have gone through, undergone. We cannot think differently. We cannot do differently. So these laws, what are these laws? Infallible is Ishvara. So whatever is infallible is Ishvara. And infallible, what is the meaning of infallible? Infallible means incapable of being wrong, incapable of committing any mistakes. So the unerring one is Ishvara. And that unerring one is also in the form of karma and dharma. When I understand this Ishvara, what happens when I pray? There is total trust. I know 100% my prayer is going to have fruit. It is an unerring order. I have 100% devotion, bhakti, because I know that order is taking care. I trust that order is taking care. And this attitude of bhakti is a natural consequence when I discover the Ishvara in my life. There's a very beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, where Krishna says, he says, Manmana bhava mat bhaktaha matyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvevam atmanam mat parayanaha. He says, he gives advice here. He says, may you become one whose mind is committed to me. So here, mind is offered in prayer to Bhagavan. May you become one who is devoted to me. Devotion means I offer my mind, I offer my body, I offer my words to that one. And may you be one who offers all the rituals that you do also unto me. So kayikam, vachikam, karma, all the instruments that we have at our disposal are used for all of this. And he finally says, may you surrender unto me. What is this surrender? May you not resist me in your life in the form of order. Whatever, Swamiji used to say, what is Ishvara. Whatever manifests for me in life is Ishvara. Here Krishna is saying, don't resist me in your life. May you surrender to me, which means offer the mind to me, offer your body to me, offer your words to me. And at the end of this verse, he says a very telling phrase. He says, having prepared yourself in such a way. So prayer is a form of preparation, and keeping me always as the ultimate end. May you reach me, the self alone. So prayer is a means to understand Ishvara. Prayer is a means to reach Ishvara, discover the truth that Ishvara and I are non-separate. And that is what he's asking here. Krishna is saying, make me the center of your life and in everything you do. In fact, many verses in Gita, he brings up this attitude. See, there is no karma yoga. With this verse, you can see, where is karma yoga separate from jnana yoga and from bhakti yoga? There is no separation of yogas here. There is no separation because bhakti is the fuel, devotion, prayerful life is the fuel that fuels all your activities in life. Whether you're in employment, you work in the world, or whether you're in renunciate studying the Shastra, it is that devotional attitude which is the fuel for all activities, all actions that we have in this life, in this world. There is no separate bhakti yoga. Bhakti is that which permeates the whole life and living. An attitude highlighted to bless your prayers. Your thoughts, words, and deeds are dedicated to the one. This is very, wonderful attitude to bring in. Your thoughts, words, and deeds are all dedicated to one. And again, bringing up the Gita, understanding more, there are different aspects of people who pray. Bhagavan even talks about that. There are many different types of personalities that pray to Ishvara. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he calls them Artha Bhaktas, Artharthi Bhaktas, Jignasu Bhaktas, and Jnani Bhaktas. What does that mean in English? Artha Bhaktas are those who pray to Lord. For why? Because they pray because they're in distress. So people who pray in distress, they seek relief from all the difficulties in life. Suddenly when something goes wrong, what happens? We don't pray all throughout the life. But there's very, very heavy turbulence on the flight. I can't manage. The flight's going up and down and lots of air pockets. Everybody's screaming. Somebody's shouting in Allahu Akbar. Somebody's shouting in some other thing, language. Everybody is shouting in their own languages. And what does that mean? Artha. I'm praying because I'm distressed. I'm in difficulties. There is nothing, again, not wrong or right. These are different stages. You can also understand stages of prayers. So the next type of personality that prays is Artharthi Bhakta, which means the ones who pray for seeking material ends. I always call them business devotees. So the business devotees, what do they pray for? They say, I will give you so much. I will offer you this nice gold chain if you fulfill my wish. If you give me that 1 crore project, I will offer you this small chain. So these are business, bartering devotees. This is the second type, but they still pray to Ishvara. So Bhagavan says all of these, he's only including the people who actually pray to him. Amongst those, there are these. And the third type of devotion is what? Jignasu. So this is where most people are here who are on the spiritual pursuit. These jignasus, what do they pray for? They pray for knowledge. They pray for knowledge because they know knowledge equals moksha. Freedom from unhappiness is self-knowledge alone. Freedom from all sorrow, freedom from the sense of insecurity, limitation is, again, the gain of knowledge. We call it the gain of knowledge. So the Jignasu prayer is for what? It is for inner growth. It is for emotional maturity. This is what the Jignasu prays for. It is not for material gains. It is not only in distress. It is a daily prayer. That prayer is what? I want to know you. I want to know that Lord to whom I have been praying all my life. I want to understand you. I want to discover you. That is the Jignasu. And the last type of devotee is that Jnani Bhakta. He already knows, this Jnani already knows the identity with the Lord as being one and the same. In fact, there is no need to pray when you're at this stage of Jnanam. There's no need to pray, but a Jnani will pray as an expression of his wisdom. He can pray, he can choose to pray for the sake of loka sangraha, for the sake of others, for the sake of society. It is not to relieve his own pain. It is not to relieve his suffering. It is more for others. He is already fullness. He does not need to do it, but he does it for the sake of others. So very beautifully, Bhagavan shows these types of prayers that one can have in our life. And as I said, as a spiritual aspirant, as a Vedanta student, we are interested in the prayer that helps us gain the maturity to be qualified students, recipients of this spiritual knowledge, of self-knowledge. This knowledge teaches us the identity of the Lord and myself being one. And we know that this knowledge is the one ultimate freedom, ultimate happiness, and freedom from all sorrow is discovered in gain of this knowledge. So this is where I take the help. I need the help of Ishvara in my life as a spiritual seeker as well. I take his help to manage all the hidden variables that can arise in the pursuit. Somebody very beautifully said, prayer is not a spare wheel that you put on when you have a flat tire, Prayer is a steering wheel that directs the life in the right direction. So it's not a spare wheel that you put on when you have flat tires. It is the steering wheel that directs your life in the right direction. And this prayer when I pray, I recognize some facts. So I'll just finish with this. What are the facts that I recognize? The facts that I recognize is that I am always related to the total on all levels. There is not one level I am not related to the total. As an individual, I am never alone. I am always related to Ishvara. Ishvara, as in the form of orders, does not only pervade the whole universe. Ishvara pervades me. I am also part of this universe. I am also pervaded by Ishvara in the form of orders. And he does not only pervade me, he pervades everyone, including terrorists. He doesn't skip terrorists and only pervade people who are in dharmic path. He pervades everything in the form of orders. This is what we have to recognize more and more. So these are, as I said, these facts, I recognize the facts. When I pray and connect to the One, I recognize that I am a devotee. Again, Swamiji always comes to the mind. He used to say, I am a devotee through all the roles I play throughout the day. I'm a devotee. I'm a devotee husband. I'm a devotee mother. I'm a devotee father. I'm a devotee employee. I'm always devoted. Why? Because I connect to Ishvara through everything and everyone in my life. So prayer is an action which helps me to relax in the order of Ishvara. That is called bhakti. Prayers and whole life becomes prayer, one of prayer and one of worship. And the surrender of this individuality, this will, the ability to let go and let God, let go and let Ishvara, is the highest form of prayer. I want to just finish with a very beautiful verse. It is from Shiva Manasa Puja. The verse, it's an encompassing verse. It's a verse that one can, live the whole life with. So you can see the meaning. Many of you may have heard it, you have studied with me, but it's always good to refresh this verse. Atmatvam girijamatis sahachara prana shariram graham pujate vishayopabhogarachana nidra samadhistitihi sanchara padayo pradakshina vidhi stotrani sarva girah yat yat karma karomi tat tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Such a wonderful verse this is. What does Adi Shankaracharya say here? He says, O Lord, Atmatvam, you are that self. You are myself. You are my Atma. Girijamatihi, Goddess Girija is my intellect. Your consort is my intellect. And all the prana shariram griham, all the life force, that all the physiological functions taking place are your attendants. The sense organs, all of them your attendants. And shariram griham, the body, my physical body is your abode, is your temple. Where are you outside in any temple? You are here with me. You are in this temple. Physical body is this temple. And nidra samadhi stitihi. My sleep is when you are in samadhi. When I sleep, you are in samadhi. And sanchara padayo pradakshina vidhi. Whenever I walk, when I move about with my 2 feet, what is that? It is circumambulating you, O Lord. I don't need, that's why, at the end of the pujas, if you see, when there's not much space, we say pradakshina, namaskara is one of the steps. We revolve around ourselves. 3 times we go around ourselves. This is why, because I'm going around this temple. I don't need to go around physical temple. Pradakshina vidhi, I'm doing pradakshina around my Lord and my heart. All moving about, my walking is moving about, moving around you. And all stotrani sarva giraha, which means all my words, my speech are stotras. They're hymns for you. They're words of praise for you. And yat karma karomi tattadakilam shambho tavaradhanam. Whatever activity, action I perform in life, O Lord Shambhu, it is for your worship alone. I do it for your worship alone. So may this prayer be for this verse to come into our lives. May all actions be offered as worship, as prayer for the Lord. We don't bother if people appreciate or not. We don't bother, we don't need people's acknowledgement. Our actions in life are arpana to Bhagavan, our worship of Bhagavan. And finally, this prayer, this worshipful life, what happens? Finally, the individual, we resolve that individual self-identity into the whole, and that is the discovery of moksha, of my swarupa, my nature, being nothing other than the nature of Bhagavan. That is called Advaita, non-duality, one without a second. So with that, I just want to finish with a quote, very nice quote. Somebody said, prayer is the most powerful action against all trials, the most effective medicine against all disease and illness, and the most valuable gift you can give to another human being. So prayer, a very, very powerful force we have in our hand, and everybody can, again, practice this as a sadhana. It is a means to discover the total. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaः, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.